So I'll be giving you all a perfect example of what will happen if we set our low pass filter way too high for our subwoofers. So this is how my subwoofers are sounding. But I do not like the high frequencies being played in my subwoofers. I can hear voice playing from out of my subwoofers. Ooh, yeah, that's an instant boost right there, bro. That's an instant boost from out of the subwoofers, guys. The bass is way louder, bro. We're setting my low pass filter at 70 Hz. Sounds a lot more deeper too. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys on how you guys can get deeper bass with just doing these simple tricks. So if you guys want to be shaking everything, flexing windows, be heard from miles away, then you guys found the right video. So make sure you guys drop a like on the video, subscribe if you guys are new, and let's jump right into the video. Blah. So when it comes to deep bass, I consider deep bass as a low rumbling bass. So when you guys are hearing that type of bass, the deep bass will just be shaking everything around you, causing an earthquake basically. And with the deep bass, you guys will be able to be heard from miles away, blocks away. So persons will be hearing you before you even reach by them. That's the power with deep bass. So the number one trick to make your bass hit more deeper is by inverting your subwoofers. So with inverting your subwoofer now, since your subwoofer booty is not taking up space inside your enclosure, what will tend to happen is that it will lower your enclosure tuning by a tad bit. So that's one big benefit of inverting your subwoofers. So when I had my subwoofers mounted normally inside my box tuning was 32 Hz. When I inverted my subwoofers now, my enclosure tuning changed and it lowered down to 30 Hz. So that will be a simple, easy way for y'all to lower your tuning on your enclosure for your subwoofers to hit more deeper. Now the second trick on to make your subwoofers hit more deeper is by setting your low pass filter correctly on your external processor or your amplifier. Now a great starting point to set your low pass filter is at anywhere from 60 Hz to 70 Hz if you guys are trying to achieve like a nice, precise deep bass coming out of your subwoofers. So let's say that I set my low pass filter at 70 Hz now. What will tend to happen is that the higher frequencies above 70 Hz will be cut off. So it won't be playing in my subwoofers. So all the lower frequencies below 70 Hz, that's the frequencies that will be playing in my subwoofers. So I'll be giving you all a perfect example of what will happen if we set our low pass filter way too high for our subwoofers. So let's set our low pass filter at 250 Hz and let's see what will happen. So this is how my subwoofers are sounding. It's sounding okay, but I do not like the high frequencies being played in my subwoofers. I can hear voice playing from out of my subwoofers. And that's not supposed to happen with your subwoofers. Ooh, yeah, that's an instant boost right there, bro. That's an instant boost from out of the subwoofers, guys. The bass is way louder, bro. We're setting my low pass filter at 70 Hz. Look at that. Sounds a lot more deeper too. So hopefully you guys could have seen the improvements of when I set my low pass filter at 70 Hz. My subwoofers were sounding a lot more louder with my low pass filter being set at 70 Hz, and it was sounding more deeper. Now the number 3 tip is to set your subsonic / high pass filter correctly. What the subsonic / high pass filter helps or does for your subwoofers is that it will be cutting off the frequencies your subwoofers aren't supposed to play, and which also prevents your subwoofers from bottoming out. Now please do not mind my handsome handwriting, but a general or easy way to find where your subsonic filter should be set at is your box tuning times 0.75. So for example, let's say that your box is tuned at 30 Hz. So we're gonna come here, 30 Hz times 0.75, and the value we get, that is where we're gonna want to set our subsonic and our amplifier for our subwoofers. So 30 times 7.5 should give us a value of 22.5 hertz. So this is where we're gonna want to set our subsonic at for our subwoofers. The subsonic is basically the opposite from your low pass filter. You do not want to set your subsonic filter way too high or way too low. With setting your subsonic way too high, you can block out frequencies where your subwoofer should be playing, but it's not playing. And if you set your low pass filter way too low and you're running a lot of power going to your subwoofers, you guys can destroy your subwoofers. Now the fifth tip on to make your subwoofers hit more deeper now is by using bass boost. I know y'all gonna bash me for this. I know y'all gonna have a lot of negative to say about bass boost, but using bass boost, guys, is actually beneficial. It's not needed, but you guys can use bass boost if you guys use it correctly. What the bass boost will tend to do for your subwoofers is that when you guys set your bass boost to a specific frequency, let's say that I set my bass boost frequency level at 30 hertz. What will happen is that while my subwoofers are playing on the 30 hertz frequency, the 30 hertz will have a little boost over the other frequencies. That's how the bass boost works on your amplifier and your external processors. What I would suggest for y'all, if you guys are planning to use bass boost, I would highly recommend for y'all to set your bass boost before setting your gain on your amplifier. So if you guys already set your gain on your amplifier and you guys planning on using bass boost, you guys can just clip your amplifier, which can destroy your subwoofers. So a safe way to use bass boost is by setting your bass boost first, and then after, set your gains on your amplifier. So the fifth tip on to achieve the right deep bass from out of your subwoofers is by extending your enclosure port. With extending your subwoofer enclosure port, what will happen is that it will give you a lower tuning on your box. So for example, my current enclosure is tuned at 30 hertz, and if I were to extend my subwoofer port, my tuning will be changed on my enclosure, which will lower the tuning on my enclosure. So if you guys want a lower tuning on your enclosure, you guys can extend your enclosure port, or you guys can just make over your enclosure. Your enclosure is the most important part of cardio onto how you guys want your bass to sound. But if you guys are extending your subwoofer enclosure port, you guys will have to do calculations and to tell what your subwoofer specs is. And to do those calculations, I'll be using a free box design app that helps me to know the specs on my enclosure. I'll be providing a link in the description if you guys want me to do a detailed video on how you guys can design your own enclosure using that free website. You guys can also comment down, let me know. I will try to do a video explaining everything you guys need to know. Hopefully you guys find these tips very helpful. These are some free tips and tricks on to make your subwoofers hit more deeper. I'll be catching you guys in my next video. Love y'all guys. Peace.